Hi, it's Patrick Tonally at pglarts.com. I'm in my studio, so welcome YouTube channel. This is my studio in Brighton in the UK. This one I've just started working on. I'm about 3 hours in on that one. About another, I've got to start working on his skin tones and stuff. So what I do in the studio is like I set up like this and I'll be painting live as like part of my content, like on Facebook Live, which I'll be doing in just a bit after I've been talking and making this video. So it's just a bit about like how things can develop. So I started making paintings at home like a few years ago, and then I thought I was really enjoying it, so I thought okay, I'd finished working because of health reasons. I'd had a heart attack and I was like recovering, and they was like constantly trying to get me to go back to work, and but it wasn't the first time I'd had this warning sign saying that I needed to do something different. So I was painting away and I thought, well, I really like this painting. What can I do? What can I do that I can get some sort of income? Doesn't have to be a lot of income, just enough. So my wife had just finished a master's degree, so she wanted to get out and do more work. She went out and did more work, whereas I'd always been the one who'd been working all the time. And she was concerned about my health and didn't want me to go back to work either. My sons had like grown out of being little and they're fairly big. They're all like adults-ish, not young adults. And becoming less and less dependent. So I thought, oh, what can I do? So I went for a short course training me to do framing, because I thought, well, I can paint and then I can frame pictures for people. And actually, if you really just work hard at it, you can make a reasonable living. And because like I was doing it from home at the time, it meant that I had limited overheads, which means my prices can be reasonable. So anyway, here's a picture that now this year, at the beginning of the year, when I started like working on this part of the business, a lot of the work building website and stuff, I was at home. So I started painting watercolors, which I hadn't really done before to any degree. And so I've just framed one, actually. I've just framed this one of Gapstow Bridge, and as you see, it's in glass with a frame. It's got a backboard, it's all taped up, it's done with mount board, and that's a really nice piece. I'm really pleased with it. And so if I was to go to a shop to buy just a print, that's the original painting, but if I was buying a print of that, which would look sort of kind of similar, being as it's flat and it's not attached to painting, just to get it framed would cost me $80, £60, $80, $75 if I'm lucky. Say $60 if I was really, really lucky, because I've got all of the materials. They're good quality materials. Yeah, I would take longer than a framer that's doing it all the time because they've got more equipment than I've got. But I've gradually picked up bits of equipment. You don't have to spend a lot, etc. So for 2 hours work, because that's how long it took me to frame it, I've got like $80, which is like fine. So if I had a whole run of frames to do, then I could comfortably make a reasonable living wage, as it were. However, what happened in the meantime was that I started to sell paintings, not this one, because I've only just started it, but I started to sell paintings for $300 or $400, say $400, $350 to $400, and like the prices of those are gradually going up. So this would be like £300, like $340 or something. I've been selling them for that, so I'm not like just making that up. That's what I was selling last year. So the problem is, like, because we're dealing with items that are luxury items, they're for disposable income. Most of the time at this stage of my career, you know, it fluctuates. So around gift time, like before Christmas, I had 9 commissions, which made me a few $1,000s overall over a period of a couple of months. But come January and February, when everybody's got no money, and also we're going through like political processes, like they're always going to happen, aren't they? Then I'm not going to get that. So I've still got my frame. The time then is to not like just sit and go, oh, I don't know what to do, what's going to happen. I have to wait until you have to like build up a body of work and start to develop, just keep working. So one good trick that I've got, that I found, which I actually need to get back on, I need to dial in, which is a little phrase I've learned recently, is to note down the work. Like I say, I've just made that frame. In effect, it's like I can pay myself £60 for doing that, because I haven't paid somebody else to do it. So you put down the work that you do in the day, and it doesn't matter if it's pennies, put it down, because it builds up your confidence and your self-worth in what you're doing. So the principle of the actual making the paintings and building up your art business is no different than building up your online business. It's the same process. So it isn't separate. And if you want to really like break through and have some sort of start to build up this confidence, you just have to work every day like you do in any other job. But the difference is that you're building up the foundation for your own business, and you're creating value for others when you're doing this sort of thing. So me sharing my journey with you means it's like hopefully helps you think, or rather than think, oh, I'd like to be an artist one day, be an artist now and start making these causes, making these planting these seeds. Because if you keep watering a planted seed, then if you plant 10 of them, maybe 5 of them will grow. And those 5, you look after them, and when it's windy, you prune them, etc., etc. And so the analogies go on. So what I do as well with content is I use this format in my studio. I'm going to do a little bit on Facebook Live shortly, where I'll be applying some more paint to this. I seem to have started quite late in the day, but I think I can still manage to do it. So the other thing I've done, you know, it's a case of like trying to do is, I think for me, and it's my personal approach, the more you take on making up a lot of this stuff yourself, in other words, I've just stretched these canvases, I've just got gesso all over my hand, but this afternoon. So this is like, it's high quality linen. The stretcher bars, I buy them in boxes. I stick them together. I've got a stretching machine which costs like $100, which helps get an even stretch, a staple gun, and I make them up. So that canvas with the high quality linen on, that will cost me $5. I've made it. I've got it together as well. and I've primed it with gesso. So $5, if I was to buy that kind of quality canvas from a hobby shop or whatever, it's most likely will cost me $40. So straight away, not only am I making myself familiar with the materials that I work with, but I'm doing something that I could, if I wanted to, do for other people as well. In fact, I have done. There's a painting which you can see the bottom of up there, which is 5 foot by 4 foot, that I've made up 5 of them. And then consequently, because I know how to do it, I've made them up for somebody else, and I make like 65% profit, and they're pleased because they're paying masses less for it. So that's like in the real world what I'm doing. And if you add up all these little bits, all these little products, then I pay for the studio, and also I pay for my materials, my computer, my equipment, etc. And yes, I haven't bought a house and I haven't got a yacht, but I've done it myself. I've generated it all myself. The whole of this, all of the work, I've done it myself. So if I'm making this painting and it takes me like so many hours, at the moment, this I will sell, like I say, for £300. So I'll be, you know, I've spent 2.5 hours on this painting so far. So the more I paint, the quicker I produce the paintings, if you want to think of it as time and stuff. But of course, some take a lot longer than others. But the more I do it and the more I pursue doing it, then actually very quickly you can convert it into a reasonable revenue. The problem is we need money week by week, month by month, etc., etc. So that's where the problems occur. But for anyone who's self-employed, it's a similar issue. So transferring all of this understanding into building an online business, in a sense, is no different. It's like, you know, find out how to do affiliate marketing, find out how to build a website, find out how to optimize your content, find out how to optimize your YouTube channel, find out how to, and the list goes on and on and on. But what isn't true, and I would like to, what isn't true is what a lot of people think, like for an artist in particular, you know, it's not, all we're doing is building the freedom to do what we want to do, which is make our artwork. There isn't like loads of free time going to happen anytime soon. And personally, I don't mind. I'm actually not working for a company where I'm beholden to them about how I live my life. And that is, you know, if I can just get that, then I'm willing to give up some things that I really don't need at this stage. And then share and grow, get as successful in a short period of time as I can, not for the money, but so that I can find out what I need to do to help you do the same. That's it. So there you go. That's my sort of a bit more of an insight into me, into my studio, how I've got to be where I am. And so thank you very much. Thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. Subscribe to my channel, please. It'd be great. Thanks very much.